Our crew is already at Stanley Cup final level.
Yes, they
Wow.
are. Yes, they are.
That was wonderfully done, and it tells you just how many special moments there were. I want to begin by saying hats off to the commissioner and the NHL as an organization. When the world was put on pause, if you had told us there was going to be a new media rights deal, there were going to be playoffs where they had 30,000 tests, all negative, then they're going to play a season, 56 games, and we're getting ready for the playoffs, that was, and I know there's a lot of betting in sports now, that's not a real good bet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? But here we are, and that allowed these magical moments. You guys so beautifully at the start of the show talked about the connective tissue, is the way you put it, of sports. When you think back on the year that was, Weeksy, pick out a moment that stood out.
I mean, there's so many. There's so many that I could. Lake Tahoe, I can think of the players unified around the social justice and the police brutality. Really, and not only just saying that as a black person, but really just the fact that so many players were unified in that cause, and so many of them have been unified in support. Yep. And something that I say a lot, too, a lot of people don't realize that there are a lot of people in the NHL that I know well, that I not only played with and against, but I'm friends with, that have mixed families and that have families of different denominations and family members that are on different side of the color wheel and religious wheel and gender and sexual orientation wheel as well, too. So that, to me, in a way, showed how far our sport has come from a humanitarian standpoint. And in terms of support, player to player, person to person, I thought that was really powerful.
Yeah, it really was. I find it odd, you know, and is it mathematically possible that in a almost shortened by half 56-game schedule, we seem to have twice as many amazing moments over the course of the year? It really seemed so incredible to me. But I think of, you know, we talked plenty about Pekka Rinne and all he's meant to that franchise, all he's meant to that organization. And again, this nexus when things start to open back up and he and the fans are able to share this one cool moment, which may be Pekka's last moment in a Predators jersey. It's entirely possible. Perhaps he goes on, and perhaps we see him take on the role of understudy, and we see a complete role reversal with respect to he and Saros. But again, you know, having been in that market, a resident of that city for such a long time, and really witnessed Pekka's entire career, it's incredible how much he means to each and every citizen of Smashville in that town. So it was a wonderful moment for them to be able to, even in a less than 50% capacity, be able to be there in that moment and give Pekka, honor Pekka in the way that they did. Ryan Miller had a similar moment, and you know, here we are. His last days as an NHL goaltender, retires the U.S. Wins leader in goal for all time. What a remarkable moment that was. And, you know, again, having been a member of the Ducks organization and knowing how endearing those fans have endeared themselves to the game, and just how important that was to Ryan. The emotional outpouring from Ryan was really a special thing to witness. So, you know, there's just no shortage of great moments. Never mind the fact that number 97, not arguably, probably the best skill set in our game today. Who would have thought that he's 100+ in a season shortened as much as this one has been? Just 56 games, but he seemed to blow through the 100-point mark with very little difficulty. Pretty impressive. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. There are a lot of moments. I mean, the lot of moments that the great Connor McDavid gives us on a game-to-game basis. And I was on my weekly radio hit in Edmonton today with Bob Stauffer, one of the voices of the Oilers, who does such a great job. The unofficial GM, Bob Stauffer? Absolutely. Our boy. The unofficial GM of the organization. You know this already. And Connor McDavid, literally, I mean, game to game, shift to shift, he gives us something to pull you out of your seats. Hello. Take a look at this board. Are you serious? Take a look at this board. I played with the one, Jager. Yeah, I played with him. Wow. I think that's right. And I got to tell you, the fact that he's on this board in terms of points per game in the last 30 years in this era, it's in this type of an environment. Unreal. This is video game-esque right now in terms of what he's doing. So listen, for NHL 21, I guess that'll be for next year with our people at EA Sports, then you got to put him in a different mode. I don't know if they have a different mode for him. He's like a cheat code. He's a cheat code, exactly.
But no, what an amazing player and what a season he's having. It's so fun to watch. He's one of the best athletes, and a lot of our athletes are among the best athletes in the world, of course, but he's of the elite. He's one of the elite in the world right now.
I was on Jim Rome's radio show yesterday, as you are often, and I said he's underrated. And as ridiculous as that sounds, we're not appreciating what he's doing. He's doing things that are historic, as we just showed on our board. Fantastic. On the topic of history, Mr. Hockey, so revered, and he will always be. As long as there are words and the sport is played, Gordie Howe will be celebrated, as he should be. His games played record, broken by Patrick Marleau, that was memorable to me because, one, it allowed us to celebrate Mr. Hockey, who is so worthy of celebration, and then the emotion of the night, the looks from Marleau, one of the most memorable Sharks in the history of that organization. Grimmer, this, too, a very memorable occasion.
Yeah, it really was. I think we referenced it last night, 1,779 NHL games Patrick Marleau has played over the course of his career. And I think remarkable, too, in that, you know, more so than any of the other folks on that board, and these are some illustrious guys that have had some remarkable, astonishing careers, but the game has really morphed significantly since Patrick Marleau broke into today. It's become much faster. You know, and I think speed is really at a premium, and yet he, to his last days, to his last games, he's an important, impactful offensive contributor at both ends of the ice, and it really is a testament to his dedication to the game, his professionalism, and I thought a really class move. The Howe family donated the stick, or the gift of the stick.
Correct.
Gordie Howe's, the stick he used in his very last game. There we have a clip of it. Our crew is all over it. I didn't even tell them that I was going to reference this. But that's the stick from Gordie Howe's very last game, and there's Patrick Marleau been gifted with that very stick. And what an incredible connection from somebody that, you know, personified. We don't call him Mr. Hockey for no good reason. He was the most identifiable face for decades in our game. You know, apart from Gretzky, I don't know that anybody has impacted our game in quite that way. So to share, you know, an honor, a milestone like that with Patrick Marleau and Gordie Howe, I'm sure it's something that'll be a lifelong memory for the Marleau family.
I had the privilege of playing with all four of those guys on that board not named Patrick Marleau, including Gordie Howe.
That is a privilege.
In his last pro game. And I could tell you, if being around those other four and playing with them and seeing them in the dressing room and knowing what they're like and their commitment, this is what I thought was an unbreakable record. And one of the many unbreakable ones. And the fact that Patrick Marleau, having played with those four, that he eclipsed them, that puts everything in perspective for me.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, that's hockey royalty right there.